In a peaceful little village, a boy called Lloyd keeps trying to catch a rabbit, and every single attempt ends in total failure. Instead of winning, the rabbit smacks him around, proving just how hilariously useless he is. Soon, his friend Shoma shows up to help him out. At first glance, Shoma looks like a girl, but nope, he's the real deal, someone Lloyd even considers a brother. After they finally take down the demonic rabbit together, the two head back toward the village. On the way, Lloyd, curious about the world beyond, asks Shoma what it's like since he travels so often. Shoma smiles and hands him a book of stories so Lloyd can learn about life outside the village. Time goes by, Lloyd grows older, and one day he enters a small cabin where he meets Maria Sammy, a witch who grants wishes in exchange for sacrifices. She offers him a chance to wish for anything, but Lloyd only asks for a place to stay. Offended, Maria fumes, until Lloyd mentions he's from the village of Kuin. She's stunned, and when he produces a crystal orb that projects the mage Allah, Maria's own master, everything changes. Allah orders Maria to take Lloyd in. Maria hates her master but can't refuse, so she grudgingly gives Lloyd a room. That night, Allah appears again, warning Maria never to get close to Lloyd because he belongs to her, then leaves a curse behind. The next morning, Lloyd cooks breakfast, and shockingly, it's amazing. Maria is floored. Then Lloyd casually shows her his handkerchief that can clean anything. Maria freezes. That's the legendary rune she nearly broke herself learning, and this clueless kid uses it for laundry. To make it worse, Lloyd adds that the only other skill he has is summoning rain. Maria's pride is officially crushed. Later, Lloyd finally heads into the city, wide-eyed at everything around him, but he overhears whispers. Hundreds have come for the night exam, and spies plan to unleash monsters during the trial. Just then, a hooded blonde girl bumps into a knight who mocks her as the cursed belt princess. Hurt, she slips into an alley. A massive cricket monster suddenly lunges at her. She fights desperately, but it's hopeless. The beast raises its claw for the killing blow when Lloyd drops from above and smashes it with a single punch. Shaken but grateful, the girl introduces herself as Selin. Later at home, Selin changes clothes, her heart racing after meeting Lloyd. She even puts on makeup, daring to hope he'll see her differently next time, but the mirror crushes her confidence. Still, she doesn't realize it yet. Her fate is already tied to Lloyd's. Meanwhile, Lloyd returns to Maria with leftover money from errands and hands her a gift that makes her blush. As the episode closes, while Lloyd unknowingly steals hearts, Knights in the Shadows whisper about monsters being released during the exam. As the exam begins, officials are busy evaluating every participant. A brown-haired girl named Colin turns to her companion, Murdoin, the pale albino beside her, and asks if it's really safe to bring in people from the outskirts. He bluntly replies, for the sake of the kingdom, they had no choice. They're not only clashing with neighboring counties, but they also lack princesses and are already desperate. Colin still has doubts because she spotted Rio flaving in the crowd, a one-armed mercenary with several arrest warrants and a reputation for being untrustworthy. But Murdoin, who knows his way around deals, assures her that as long as there's a good bargain, Rio won't be a problem. Colin's eyes also land on that rude knight from earlier. His name is Alan Toyn Litico. Yeah, finally got it right. And he's already bickering with the blonde girl, Selin. Murdoin explains that Alan joined their troops right away after being offered, though they had to tempt him with an officer's position first. Meanwhile, Rio scans the other applicants, but inside she's trembling. The aura around Lloyd is so overwhelming she thinks he might devour her alive, when in truth Lloyd is just trying to be kind. He barely manages to apologize before Selin suddenly appears, slamming Rio into a wall. Drooling over Lloyd, the blonde boldly declares he's hers forever. Lloyd just breathes, and she's already obsessed. Being jealous, Selin demands to know who this so-called homewrecker is that dared to get close to her man. Once she learns they just met, she instantly cools down and goes back to chatting with Lloyd like nothing happened. Rio finds it bizarre, but quickly realizes that if a peasant and a noble can get close, that could mean serious gold. A soldier then announces the start of the combat trials. The albino approaches the one-armed mercenary and asks if she's ready. Of course she is. She needs to clear her name at all costs. But one thing worries her. Who the hell is that blonde boy? The albino admits he's just as scared. He has no idea who Lloyd is, but he's certain this kid could wipe them all out with a single smack. Soon, Rio's group is called up for the trial. Murdoin wants to keep his eyes on Lloyd to see what he can do, but Colin drags him away for other business. Meanwhile, Maria calmly sips her coffee, only to be joined by her master, Allah, who casually pours herself one too. They discuss Lloyd, convinced he's surely passed the test. But they couldn't be more wrong. The next morning, Colin formally welcomes all the new recruits, while Rio and Selen search everywhere for Lloyd. Rio suspects the albino had something to do with Lloyd's disappearance, but when she sees his confused face, she realizes he's just as clueless. As Colin gives her speech, paranoia spreads. Murdoin has lost a potential powerhouse. Rio has lost her chance for profit, and Selen has lost her man. Then Colin drops a bomb. She reveals the missing princess is none other than Maria Sammy and promises a massive reward to whoever can find her. Meanwhile, Lloyd is seen walking away sadly because he didn't make it into the academy. Wait, what? How could the most broken powerhouse of them all fail to get in? Wandering through the city, Lloyd suddenly runs into another giant cricket monster and smacks it down in a single hit. Right after, he spots a job posting and heads off to apply. He ends up at a restaurant, only to be attacked by a huge muscular man ready to crush him. This beast is Crown Molly Demu, a former officer of the Royal Guard. But Lloyd, broken beyond reason, dodges effortlessly and even apologizes. The muscle man pauses, shocked by Lloyd's insane reflexes. Lloyd calmly explains he's only there for the job, but Crown mistakes him for some professional underworld killer. To prove he's no thug, Lloyd offers to cook. Elsewhere, the albino and the girls review Lloyd's exam and are stunned. His entire paper is covered in scribbles. Colin shows up, sees the mess, and smacks her partner, then realizes those aren't random scribbles. They're ancient runes. That means if Lloyd can write these, he can control magic in ways nobody else can. Overpowered doesn't even begin to describe it. Back with Lloyd, he cooks a meal for Crown. 3-star Michelin quality. Flawless. The muscle man still doesn't trust him, but after tasting it, he's blown away. Impressed, he introduces himself properly and hires Lloyd on the spot. Meanwhile, back at the academy, the short-tempered, brown-haired Colin complains she won't get to see Lloyd's full power. The blonde Selen promises that no matter what, she'll find the missing princess and demand Lloyd's admission as a reward. The dark-haired Rio quickly joins too, but only for the money. Later on, Lloyd comes back to Maria and Allah carrying bad news. He failed to get into the academy. Both women are completely stunned. They were sure their boy would pass, but Lloyd refuses to quit. He politely asks Maria if he can stay until he gets another chance to take the exam. Allah hates the idea, yet she can't bring herself to say no to the man she loves, so she agrees. From that point on, she sticks close to Lloyd, literally clinging to him. The boy doesn't even have to try, and girls start swarming him from all directions. Jealousy goes through the roof. Maria then asks her master if she herself could deal with the danger hanging over the kingdom. Allah, sensing how serious she is, asks just how bad things really are. Maria explains, the king of Asami is desperate for war, not because he wants it, but because someone is controlling him. They plan to use the upcoming national festival, with foreign leaders present, as the excuse to start a war against Kyo. Maria is determined to stop it, but Allah shakes her head. The people of Kunlun don't interfere in politics. Their duty is only to handle the supernatural, dragons, demon kings, things humans can't face. She reminds Maria how 5 years ago she begged for help to control runes, and since then she's been hunting the true culprit. But her master warns, don't charge him blindly. I've seen countless people try and pay the price. Allah gives one last warning. If you ever drag Lloyd into your mess, I'll take him away forever. Then she mocks her, telling her to stop being lazy and fix her own problems if she truly wants to help her sweetheart get into the academy. Furious, Maria snaps back, saying this isn't something that can be fixed so easily. Before leaving, Allah places a curse on her student, so bad luck would strike if she dared insult her again. Exhausted, Maria finally tosses her master's crystal orb into a well. The next day, Murden sits with Rio at Crom's restaurant, talking about their plan to find Lloyd and the missing princess. He's baffled. The place, once filthy and awful, is now spotless and packed with customers. Rio asks about the owner, and Mertun explains he used to be a royal escort in the army. Crom himself comes out with their meals, leaving them both stunned. The food looks heavenly. They devour it in seconds. When Merdefan asks how Crom cooked something so perfect, the man admits he hired a new chef. Rio scoffs, asking who want to work with such a brute. Right then, Lloyd appears carrying another tray. Both freeze, jaws dropping. They found him. Murdafin immediately threatens Crom, demanding to know how he trapped Lloyd as his employee and if he really understands the boy's power. Crom admits he knows full well and is terrified that one day Lloyd might crush him. Meanwhile, Lloyd steps outside to burn the trash but spots Maria slipping into an alley. Hearing soldiers whisper about a fight there, he decides to follow. Elsewhere, Seelan faces Alan Toyin Litico, who's furious that her reckless behavior is staining the nobility's reputation. Wanting to protect his rich boy privileges, he challenges her to a duel. Alan's attack is blindingly fast, leaving Seelan reeling until her cursed belt suddenly shields her and disarms him. The crowd gasps in shock, while Seelan believes it's all thanks to her beloved Lloyd. Right on cue, Lloyd arrives, making Seelan blush hard. She rushes to his side, all sweet and clingy, just as the others show up. Stunned to see him there, Saleen proudly declares her man will fight Alan for her honor. Murdoin encourages it, eager to see Lloyd's true power. Even Colin, suspicious at first, joins in. Alan, the arrogant narcissist, mistakes it all for an audience, excited to show off his noble skills. He accepts the duel and even asks Lloyd to assist him. Lloyd tries to decline, insisting he's too weak, but is eventually pressured into agreeing. Rio grows worried. What if Lloyd accidentally sends Alan straight to the afterlife? But Murdoin assures her, as long as nobody hits the face, it'll be fine. Alan then insists Lloyd throw the first punch, even demanding he strike his face directly. Rio and Murdoin think it's over. Alan is done for. Crum mutters that if nobody finishes off that arrogant knight, it would be a waste. But just as Lloyd is about to land the fatal smack, a sudden whirlwind sweeps him away. Crum recognizes it instantly. It's Maria's magic. She yanks Lloyd out of the duel and scolds him for acting recklessly. Yet, as always, Lloyd's innocent charm melts her anger. Crom, who followed, confirms it was her spell. After sending Lloyd back to the restaurant, Maria and Crom talk, and she explains the dire situation with the king. Someone is controlling him to provoke war against Joe during the national festival. She needs Crom's help. Later that evening, Mertone trains relentlessly when Colin brings him coffee and asks why he never rests. He reveals the tragic truth. His village lived in poverty, and when the goo invaded, everything was taken. Since then, he swore never to let it happen again. Elsewhere, Seelan is with Rio, who mocks her because her serious relationship with Lloyd seems to be falling apart. Flustered, Seelan denies it and suggests they visit Maria for clues about the missing princess. Together they knock on her door and are shocked when Lloyd himself answers. Inside, Seelan spirals, realizing her man is living with another woman. Rio, ever sharp, guesses Seelan's feelings come from Lloyd freeing her from her curse. Lloyd treats them politely, but Maria nearly faints seeing the unexpected visitors, especially Seelan glaring with jealousy. Lloyd explains the girls came for help. Rio hands Maria a photo, asking if she knows the missing princess. Maria grows nervous, insisting she knows nothing, but Rio never said the word princess. The witch's nerves worsen. Rio studies her carefully, noticing the uncanny resemblance. Seelan, tears in her eyes, suddenly blurts out an emotional question. Seeing her pain, Maria realizes her choice to abandon her responsibilities only hurt her people. She decides to confess her true identity. But Seelan wasn't asking about that. She just wanted to know if her cake hadn't been stolen. Rio, on the other hand, is thrilled. They've finally found the princess. Maria tries to deny it, but the truth is obvious. She offers a deal, information about the princess in exchange for knowledge about the royal family and the kingdom. Rio, clever as ever, refuses unless Maria reveals her true self. At that moment, Lloyd steps in, proudly declaring he's figured out too. Of course, he's wrong. He believes Maria is the protector of the kingdom. Maria goes along with it, claiming that title. Lloyd's eyes light up. He begs her to let him help save the kingdom.